My name is Inez, and I live in Newport, Rhode Island. I owned this property, and it was a rental for many years. When I decided to retire and move here permanently, I thought about what I needed to have done to the property. Most of the work had been done before on the house, except for the kitchen. The kitchen was very dated. I really did not want to live with the kitchen. So my main goal was to have the kitchen totally redone, and I had a short window of time because I wanted it done before I moved in. Start to finish, less than 6 months. I had to come up with somebody that I wanted the work done by and the work completed, because I did not want to live in a building site. This was not my first rodeo. I've done 3 kitchens in the past. So I set about looking for online presence of various remodeling companies to see the style, the work that they had done. I wanted somebody that was fairly local and familiar with the building codes and the ins and outs of remodeling, especially in a place like Newport where the houses are so old and historic, and there are specific challenges, I'm sure, remodeling on Aquidneck Island and in Rhode Island. Having come from Massachusetts, I was unfamiliar with it. Why I zeroed in and narrowed my focus to Remodeling Right, I was just blown away by the media presence and the website and level of detail that Remodeling Right had. Then came the responsiveness and the level of detail of answers to my questions. The initial sort of intake interview that Mike conducted with me was on a par, far above the other 2 contractors that responded. And that's what sealed the deal for me, is responsiveness, because my main goal was to get everything done, planned out, and finished by mid-May. And it was January when I was really ready to start talking to people. This was the first renovation that I've done in 30 odd years where I had no issues. None. There were no issues. It was so smooth. I cannot believe how smooth it was. I had a lot of ideas to begin with. I was pretty clear what I wanted. I wanted to retain the beadboard ceiling, and he came up with a solution that would allow me to keep it. And it's one of the things that I and my guests love. He saw what I wanted straight away. There was not too much back and forth. There was no arguing. It made it very, very smooth and simple. We nailed down the finishes pretty quickly. I mainly worked with Eduardo, and he was excellent. He made himself very accessible throughout. He was just on top of all the details, and he would keep me posted. There were complications because I wasn't living here. I wasn't seeing the work. I was remote, and I wanted to stay on top of the details. And so he was great about that. Back in the offices, Jen was also very kind and very responsive, getting in touch with me about certain things. You can't find any fault, and they were just as responsive as I thought they would be. The level of communication was extremely professional. Never throughout this process did I feel that Eduardo, Mike, or anybody back at the office wasn't communicating enough with me. So that was really the one takeaway that I felt like, wow, I really made the right choice, because in my prior experience, I've never had that level of communication. I would definitely recommend. I have. Unfortunately, some of the people that are looking to have work done are, closer to Boston, and they're like, oh, we wish this company would come up to where we are, because they were impressed with the results. They were impressed with my experience with the process. I would recommend Remodeling Right wholeheartedly because of the process. The process was smooth. It was transparent. There was a great deal of communication throughout. It was good project management from start to finish. And I've seen good results, but without the project management going along. And I felt like, if anything went wrong, these guys would be on it. And fortunately, nothing went wrong.